Please take your seats. Good afternoon, everybody. It is my pleasure and privilege to open this convocation for the class of 2021. We were doing what seemed impossible not long ago, and I gotta say, it is wonderful. I was gonna say to see your faces, but I guess I don't quite see your faces. It's wonderful to see you all here. You all still have shoes, not just slippers. We're not in Zoom here, so it's really good to see you all. I welcome those of you who are here in person, as well as family, friends, faculty, staff, and students who are viewing from home. I've come to know and appreciate the contributions that these students have made to this institution, and I am very proud of their accomplishments. Now, at this time, I would like to recognize a group of individuals who play an important role in this convocation. The outstanding faculty who have taught and nurtured the members of this class for the past 3 years. Please, faculty, would you please rise so that we may recognize you? I also would like to thank the many members of our staff who played a huge part in helping our students succeed and for their role in making today a special occasion for our graduates. As I did at yesterday's honors and awards ceremony, I would especially like to acknowledge Bonnie Steepleton, Desiree Ramirez, Ashley Hart, Greg Garcia, and Tony Anderson. Not only have they worked to make the law school's graduation a success in a very short time frame, but they've also made it possible for the medical school and medical arts to have an in-person experience here at the law school for the first time ever. Bonnie and Desiree's work in organizing everything has truly been amazing. They met in person with medical school teams several times to work on logistics. They were arriving here at like dark 100 in the morning to meet with tent people to set up. They've been here for medical school graduation. It has been a tremendous amount of work on top of planning the law school's graduation. They have gone above and beyond this year. And for those of you watching from home, you'll be pleased to know that Tony Anderson has been really working hard behind the scenes to make this a top-notch experience for the at-home viewers. The live streaming includes different camera angles, picture-in-picture, music, all sorts of stuff that I would have no idea how to do. As some of you saw yesterday, he did a fabulous job, and we had a challenging circumstance with the winds yesterday, and my fingers are crossed that today it will stay kind of like it is right now. We also, I want to say, have only 4 business days between faculty approval of awards for honors and awards for the ceremony that happened yesterday. That's a really short time for Ashley Hart to do everything that she's got to do in making up certificates, printing graduation programs. Just the work that the staff has done has been tremendous this year, and I'd like to thank all of you once again. I also would like to recognize the family and friends of our graduates who are now watching this from home. Our students have achieved what they have in large part because of your support. Graduates and faculty, please join me in thanking the friends and families for their role in this accomplishment today. And now I would like to introduce our commencement speaker, retired Justice, former Chief Justice Ed Chavez of the New Mexico Supreme Court. Edward L. Chavez graduated from Eastern New Mexico University in 1978 with a BBA degree. He earned his JD in 1981 from this very law school. He worked as an attorney until he was appointed to the Supreme Court by Governor Bill Richardson, and he served as a justice on the New Mexico Supreme Court from March 7th, 2003 until his retirement on March 9th, 2018. He was Chief Justice of the New Mexico Supreme Court from January 10th, 2007 through April 7th, 2010. Justice Chavez is committed to service to the profession and state. He served as president of the Legal Aid Society of Albuquerque, chairman of the UNM Mental Health Center, and chairman of the Supreme Court Disciplinary Board. In addition, he's been a member of numerous civic and professional organizations. He's also taught at the National Institute for Trial Advocacy and UNM School of Law as an adjunct instructor. He remains active doing volunteer work for all three branches of government and private not-for-profit organizations. His courtroom experience prior to service on the Supreme Court earned him recognition as an elected member of the American Law Institute, the American College of Trial Lawyers. Membership there is limited to no more than 1% of the total lawyer population of any state. And the International Academy of Trial Lawyers, limited to only 500 active trial lawyers in the United States. He's listed in Best Lawyers of America. He's received the Distinguished Achievement Award in 2018 from the UNM School of Law Alumni Association. As I was planning to introduce him, I reached out to somebody who knows him really well, his former law partner, our own Professor David Stout, and asked Professor Stout if he could pass along some stories, something that I could relay about Justice Chavez. And Professor Stout did that, so I'm quoting from him. So I only call Justice Chavez, but you will hear him referred to as Ed here from David Stout. Ed had a great ability to relate to juries and to have jurors relate to him. Anyone who has seen him work a room understands exactly what I mean. At some point during jury selection, Ed would tell this story. As a boy, I used to work on my grandfather's ranch, and my grandfather had a collie. I think Ed used to say a collie dog. This dog, Ed would say, was one mean animal. To this day, I don't like collie dogs. I have a prejudice or bias against collies. He would use this illustration to explain that people do have prejudices, but they may not be the kind of prejudices that would prevent a juror from fairly hearing a case. Then he would probe to see anyone thought they might have some bias arising from the facts of the case. This simple illustration allowed the jury to think about the real point of the story, which is did they have a prejudice that might prevent them from fairly hearing the evidence and following the law? But Ed's story made it okay for them to feel comfortable having that conversation. And Professor Stout goes on, lest you think Ed was only about business, he's also a big Broncos fan. And we shared season tickets for many years. Go Broncos, I'll say here. We were at the 2016 AFC Championship game when the Broncos beat the Patriots, 2018. Our seats were the top row end zone north end of the stadium. No one in the stadium was higher up than us, but you could bang on a wall immediately behind you. You would never think Ed to be a wall banger, but believe me, he can bang with the best of them. We stood the entire game and had to stop banging because my hand hurt, but Ed kept right on banging to the final gun. One final note, the single most important thing in life for Ed after his family, which is number one for him, is his dedication to providing service to the neediest people in our community. Not just legal services, but a full range of services. He's dedicated much of his life to helping figure out ways to provide those services. He's currently a volunteer for Roadrunner Food Bank, fitting it into his retirement schedule, during which he takes on more projects than would keep two people employed full-time. Professor Stout ends, I hope this will be useful for you. He is the best man I have ever known. As you can see, Justice Chavez has set the bar high by showing the amazing things that graduates of this law school can accomplish. Now, please join me in welcoming the class of 2021's commencement speaker, Justice Ed Chavez.
Freedom. Thank you, Dean Pareja, for the kind and generous introduction and Professor Stout for keeping it clean. I also want to thank you, Dean, for your leadership and for your invitation for me to speak today. Class of 2021, live and in person. Amazing. I didn't think we'd ever see this again. Congratulations, you're climbing the ladder of success. I hope that you enjoy the view. And for you parents, siblings, relatives, friends joining us online, thank you for the love and encouragement that you have shown these graduates. Felices son los corazones que sienten tu orgullo y amor, pero triste los ojos que no te ven. Happy are the hearts that feel your pride and your love, but sad are our eyes that do not see you here with us. 43 years ago, this law school took a chance on this 20-year-old introvert who's not the smartest or sharpest knife in the drawer. The professors wired my brain to think like a lawyer. They taught me that if I was ambitious and worked hard, that opportunities that I never even dreamt of would become available to me. I love what this law school has done for me and for so many people. For that reason, I am deeply honored to be your commencement speaker today. I want to talk to you today about two things. One, the mind within the brain, and two, American coins. I want to preface my remarks, however, to acknowledge those law students who love law school so much that they're still in law school. We call them faculty. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, wisdom, and advice with the students, but more importantly, thank you for preparing them to climb the next rung on the ladder of success, becoming licensed attorneys. Graduates, I do know how proud your professors are of you and your accomplishments. You have earned a reputation for working hard, for meeting obstacles, and overcoming them. You've actually endured what no other graduating class has had to endure. That's virtual learning. And yet, as I spoke with certain of your leaders like Nikki Berry, you took what should have been an obstacle, and showing remarkable resilience, you made virtual learning into a tool for outreach. Outreach to community leaders, to other students, to clients in clinical programs. Laura Church, who happened to receive the 3L Student of the Year from the National Native American Law Student Association. I wish I knew where she was at. I've talked, how are you? Congratulations. Well, she shared with me that UNM's NALSA actually used virtual learning to do some what she called inaugural events, such as putting together programs to learn how to take the bar exam, putting together programs that invited community leaders to solicit their advice, and also a symposium on indigenous women and girls who have been missing or murdered. I also know that some of you are asking important questions about what to do with your law degree. And the opportunities, I tell you, will be boundless. Like all the most satisfying and rewarding professions, the study of law is about people. It's about how people accommodate and relate to one another. You have the degree that empowers you to help those who cannot help themselves. You can be the voice for the inarticulate, for the muzzled, or for those who don't have the courage to speak for themselves. You will protect and improve the quality of life for people who will trust you, who will confide in you things that they may not have even told their loved ones or closest friends. You may decide to specialize in family law, or you might be an advocate for children in abuse and neglect proceedings. You might be a specialist in transactional law, writing the documents that preserves the financial security of families and businesses. Or you might have the undaunted courage to take on the businesses that maim and kill the masses by polluting our environment with carcinogens or designing and selling defective products. You may be tired of watching while policymakers brush crumbs off the table onto the floor for the poor and decide to do something about that. You may fight to keep our streets and families safe by prosecuting those who commit crimes. Some of you are going to be fortunate enough to have to represent the unpopular client or take on the unpopular cause. And if you happen to be so lucky, embrace the opportunity. Those are the legal battles that preserve our democracy. Those are the legal battles that will preserve our system of justice. Those are the legal battles that will preserve that sacred body of law, the Bill of Rights. Yet, your efforts will not go unchallenged. Can you all see my hands? No, you can't. Not until you've seen the other side. That's the essence of the practice of law. If you're writing legal documents, you're going to have to avoid ambiguity because somebody will be there to challenge what you've written. If you're litigating, obviously somebody's going to be on the other side challenging you. My advice to you, trust your education. I did. I worked hard to apply what my law school experience taught me about the mind within the brain. You had that experience too. Your mind could be a funnel. It could be a sealed container. It can be a sponge, or it can be a sieve. A mind that is a funnel where the facts and arguments of your opponent go in your brain and exit immediately because you were unable to silence the voice of your mind, or because you didn't think your opponent was worthy of your attention, is not in your client's best interest. A mind that is a sealed container because you refuse to objectively consider the other side's arguments or evidence does not satisfy your client's interest. A mind that is like a sponge that takes everything in, that's better. But when you squeeze it, everything comes out. Good, bad, important, unimportant. And all that does is create a muddled mess that confuses the merits of your client's case. When I came to law school, I thought I was going to learn law from the professors. Instead, they pelted us with questions. They would ask a student for the facts of a case, they would ask for a holding of a case, and after the student answered their question, they would doggedly begin with the what ifs, changing the facts, changing the holding of the case, pointing to other cases, what if, what if, what if, on and on. But the professors did this, not to antagonize you, although you may have felt that way, but so that you would understand that the mind within the brain must be a sieve where you sift through procedure to navigate bureaucracies, to navigate the courts, to determine whether or not you want to challenge the constitutionality of the process, but more importantly, so that you would not detract from the merits of your client's case by not following the rules. A sieve where you read with reflection statutes, regulations, case law, as you begin to carefully develop the major premise of your argument. Sifting to determine which statute applies. What did the legislature intend? Is there more than one interpretation of the statute? Which interpretation favors your client? Which doesn't? Is the statute unconstitutional? A sieve where you search through case law to determine whether it supports your client's cause as written. And if not, how are you going to respond? Can you make the argument for extending or modifying the rule of law or even overruling it? And if there's no case on point, can you create new law? A sieve, where you gather evidence to develop the minor premise of your argument, sifting through the evidence first to determine whether or not you've collected all the evidence, which evidence is admissible, which evidence is favorable to your client, how best to present the evidence that's favorable to your client, and thinking about the unfavorable evidence so that you can determine how best to respond or rebut the evidence. What you learned about the mind within the brain has given you a real-life skill. It makes you uniquely qualified to impact the policies of our state and of our nation. The skill to be a leader in the community project we call justice. The skill to make real for all people the idea of America, liberty. So important is the idea of America that the word liberty appears on the front of every American coin, almost as if to remind us daily that liberty is deeply rooted in the truths that are self-evident, that all people are created equal, they are endowed with dignity and the inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The preamble to our nation's Constitution reaffirms the idea that America must be a nation where its people enjoy personal freedom, opportunity, and self-determination. It's not we the oligarchs or we the wealthy. It's we the people who must form a more perfect union, establish justice, promote the general welfare, and secure for ourselves and future generations the blessings of liberty. The liberty to speak, to worship, to write your own story, and pursue happiness. Promises of our Constitution that have been denied and withheld from so many over the years, at so many times in our history, until somebody said, enough. This is not right. This is not America. Not to condemn America, not to divide the United States, not to destroy our democracy, but to recognize that the preamble of our Constitution is that perfecting our union, establishing justice, promoting the general welfare, or securing the blessings of liberty is a continuing community project. Not because these people lack patriotism. What was unpatriotic about ending slavery? What was unpatriotic about insisting that women have the right to vote, or that minorities have an equal right to vote? What was unpatriotic about our very own Senator Dennis Chavez, who championed legislation that would put an end to workforce discrimination? What is unpatriotic about wanting all children to have an equal education? What is, or why is it unpatriotic to want equality, opportunity, and justice for all? Pride in our country is not only appreciating what is great about our country, but it's improving and sustaining its greatness. And with each generation, we can and we must work toward fulfilling the great promises of our Constitution. But that's only going to happen if people have the passion and the courage to question whether what they see in their communities is consistent with the idea of America. And that's why it's important for all of us, no matter our station in life, to be active in our democracy. Our democracy works best when everyone is involved. And the truth is, you get what you put into our democracy. And apathy deserves very little. But your legal education uniquely qualifies you to build a better society, to appreciate the problems of our society, the need for peace, the need for justice, the need to make pure the environment that God entrusted to us. So get involved with any organization that affects your welfare or the welfare of loved ones and your friends. Organizations such as school boards, any organization where policy decisions are made, where decisions are made on how to improve the life of all people. The bottom line is, if you're not at the table to set the agenda, someone else is going to set it for you. And when that happens, there's nothing that guarantees that they will be aware of your interest or even protect your interest. But many of you graduates have already used the tools of your education to make a difference in our society. Where's Jessica Arreola and Kateri West? Where are the other moms of law? Stand up. You persuasively argued that child care assistance regulations needed to be changed so that those who had previously been excluded would now be included in the programs. Laura Church, in the back, worked for New Mexico Legal Aid to provide tax and legal services to people in the Laguna Pueblo. Isaac Lopez is involved in Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and he's taught students, high school students, about constitutional rights and how to develop advocacy skills, inspiring them, motivating them, encouraging them to become lawyers. Jessica Martinez worked on the serious issues impacting the native vote. Ana Trio worked on a human trafficking project. Justice Irons, what a name. He spoke in favor of eliminating fines and fees from the Children's Code, and he was successful. Erin Marshall and her husband established a mother's milk bank here in New Mexico to increase access to life-saving human milk for preterm, low birth weight, and medically fragile infants. These are but a few examples of how your fellow students have used their skill to be active in our democracy and to work for the common good. In closing, I want you to know that law cannot solve all of life's problems, but it can solve many. And so I hope that you leave here this afternoon determined to solve those problems that the law can solve. But I also hope that you go out there and work tirelessly to form a more perfect union so that everyone enjoys the blessings of liberty and the security of justice. It's been said that life is like the sport of tennis. If you serve well, you seldom lose. As you serve, listen to the applause from your conscience. Be ambitious. Work hard. Never doubt yourselves. Remember, those who say they can and those who say they cannot are both right. Congratulations, class of 2021. May you live peaceably with one another. Congratulations.
Thank you, Justice Chavez, for your inspirational message. And now, the reason for this convocation, the hooding of our graduates. The academic hood is symbolic. You will notice hoods have a purple lining. The color purple symbolizes the degree being granted, law. The satin lining of cherry and silver represents the colors of the University of New Mexico. The size and the shape of the hood indicates the degree. We have one MSL student, Master's of Studies in Law student graduating this year, and that person has a master's degree hood. The rest of you are receiving your Juris Doctor, the doctorate degree, and you have the hood for the shape of a doctoral degree. Each candidate will come forward with their hoods. And the way this will work is, if you look off to my left, there's the microphone over there. That is where the person reading the names will be standing. You will walk that way, and then you will come across in front of where I am right now, and there will be, oh, Bonnie's gonna demonstrate. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you. All right. You will come up, you will bring your hood to the hooder, we call it hooder, and they will congratulate you with an elbow bump or whatever you want to do other than shake hands, and then they will give you the hood back to turn around and put the hood on yourself. You're being watched by viewers from afar. The camera's on you, so you may wave or dance or do whatever you want to celebrate. The readers, by the way, I'll mention here, we've got three readers whose names are going to be reading names. Associate Dean Michelle Rigual, Associate Dean Natalie Martin, and Professor Sonia Gibson-Rankin. Oh, and Serge Martinez, thank you. And then there will be faculty volunteers up here. I believe we've got Professors Josh Kastenberg, Laura Spitz, Joe Schremer, David Stout, Miriam Aranjani, and Reed Benson, I think. I missed somebody, but you will walk across, so they will see you. You then will walk around where Bonnie's going. Back, all the way back around on your way out. And photos are being taken back behind me. See camera people over there? All right, Bonnie's making her way quickly around. Good job, Bonnie. Very good. So photo taken, and then watch, there she goes, then you head back to your seats, kind of back off this back way behind the speaker so you don't crash into the people who are coming through. So that's the general path. Now, would the first professors who are gonna be participating take their places at this time? Now, you might think I would say, hold your applause, this is a dignified event or whatever. That is not our tradition at this law school. Hooping and hollering and being as loud as you want to celebrate with your classmates. Professors can celebrate with the graduating students. And in fact, since we have people watching at home, I hope your family members and friends are celebrating, applauding loudly at home as well, and dancing as much as they want, maybe even filming themselves to show you when you get home. After all that this class has been through since the pandemic hurt, you richly, richly deserve our recognition. So the hooding will now begin, and I will turn it over to our readers. So begin.
Thank you. The following 2021 graduates could not be with us today. Ariane Elise DePauli, Felicia Adams, Kristen Leanne Burns, Adam David Eisenberg, Alexandra M. Gutierrez, Hannah Ray Neal, Juan Carlos A. Miranda, Bradley M. Odegaard, and Margie Aline Rutledge. All right. Jerry Budenholzer. Atza Don Chavez. Jerry Lynn Rubio. Warner Chen. Melina Valladares. Christopher Michael Hall. Sean Christopher McKenzie. Tony David Dalton. Esther Catherine Jameson. I've run out of graduates. Lane Christopher Towery. Royce Andrew Deller. F. Michael Hart. Jenna Haley Ritchie. Kateri Garcia West. Hannah Neal. Mallory Ann Wolf. Taylor Catherine Smith. Dylan Reinhardt. All right.
Lawson Holland Stiff. Bryce Dorato. William Lusk Claiborne. Kristen Joyce Burby. Paige Randall Gallegos. Alejandro Macías Urias. Ashley Nicole Carrasco. Victoria Cassandra LeBlanc Villalpando. Selena Christine Baca. D.A. Reynolds. Mallory Page Christensen.
David Lewis Rodriguez.
David Luis Rodriguez. Sabri Blakeney. Jonathan Scott Brown. Riley L. Norris. Dharma Khalsa. Catherine Elizabeth Holcomb. Julia Ashley Cummings. Corey Marie Naw.
Stephanie Ray Padilla. Samantha Ray Finlayson. Emily Claire Nitschke. Rachel Lee Wisniewski. Charles Ted Asbury. Savannah Jane Hoover. Daniel Harris Silverstein. Aaron Vianpando. Sarah Elizabeth McLean. Jessica Noemi Aguirre. David Andrew Ray. Troy S. Lawton. Robert Bruce Collins. I like it. Congratulations. Ambrose A. Kupfer. Michael Philip Woods. Kateri Hope Eisenberg. Haley Marie Zock.
Oh, this feels right. This feels right.
Jacques Henri Chenard. David Hughes. Connor William Joy. Zachary E. Wilson Fetro.
Marissa Diana Bassler. Ian Lee Keller.
Sorry, I'll get it. I know. They lost mine. It got blown away. I hope you can read it. I was a little bit worried. But
A little bit sketchy, but all out.
promise, that's me.
Justice Irons.
All right.
Okay. Amanda Elizabeth Sivanar. Oh, you're raising it. Oh, you're like a genius. Okay. All right. Brooke Marie Jordy. Catherine, yeah, I don't know Catherine County. So the local geographical reference lost on me. Yes. Sarah Katrin Hyde. Claire, this doesn't seem legit. Did you actually graduate? I don't know. All right, I'm gonna allow it this time. Claire Gardner.
Isela Anchondo.
All right, D, pushing the D. All right, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right, you ready? It's a big moment here.
Jenna D. Purpura.
You don't want me to say the middle name? Do you want me to say it? Okay.
Kristen Marley Polk.
I appreciate it. All right.
Krista Jean Thompson. Colleen Edith Silversmith.
Never gotten that right till now. Sorry. Wow.
Lydia Nicole Ninham.
All right. Now, do you want me to say Renee?
Yeah.
It's whatever you want.
Navalin Renee Platero. Max Joseph Spivak. Vanessa Denise Hidalgo.
Adelina. This is Adeline. Adelina. Okay, sorry.
Itzel Adeline Valencia Soria.
You want me to say trio or trijo? Trijo. Okay. And Ana? Yes. And what's the K?
Karen, if you
Want me
say it
to
in
say it?
Spanish, yes.
Of course I will. Will you say it in Spanish?
Ana Karen Trillo.
Jessica Inez Martinez.
Beautiful. Do you want me to roll the R?
Yes, please.
Let's see if I can pull it off.
Yeah.
It's only my last
Yes.
name, right? I get my name wrong all the time.
Jessica Inez Martinez.
I heard you didn't want my cord.
Isaac never did.
Oh, this is awkward.
McKenna Montana Maines.
That's all right. We're in no rush, Laura. It's fine. Take your time. So you get the spotlight all to yourself. Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Laura Morgan Church. Aaron McDonald Marshall. Paula Marie Vance.
I looked it up to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, but this doesn't look very official.
Hope Pendleton.
Great job, Hope. Oh, yeah. Arriola?
Adriana.
I always wondered if I'm getting it wrong. But it's Jessica.
Jessica Arriola.
Thank you. All right.
Jennifer Nikki Berry. Ethan Johnson Arviso.
Hey, Micah. I'll just read what it says.
Micah McNeil.
Good job, Micah. Hey. You're supposed to say my middle name. Say that again? You're supposed to say my middle name. Okay, gotcha. Wait, this says Friday? That's what I thought. Okay. All right. These phonetics are not help. They're hurting more than they're helping.
Keen Frady.
I thought you were already doing.
Oh.
Do you want me to say Isaac or Isaac?
Oh, please, Isaac.
Isaac? Okay. All right.
Isaac James Lopez.
So let's give them a chance to walk around from back for a second here. Looks like we got about 5 more students getting pictures taken. The mask thing slows things down a little bit. Oh, yes. I'm gonna drink this one. So I officially present to you the class of 2021. Now, I want to thank you all for being here today, and I really mean that. We had no idea how many people would show up, and this is amazing to see all of you, so this has been fabulous. Now, what we're going to do is have people exit the way they came in, and really kind of to do as we would do in a normal graduation year. I would ask that faculty exit first, and then students will exit in the same path that you came in. So thank you all. This concludes